Before we get started, I want to look at a very short clip from one of my favorite comedians, Mike Birbiglia.
I went to a dance club the other day, which is timely because my self-esteem had been hovering around normal and I've been needing to knock it down to negative 1,000. Everyone tries to get you to dance in the clubs, especially women. They're like, you gotta dance, you gotta dance. And then I dance and they're like, not like that.
Now that's some really edgy stuff, Mr. Nagel. Sheer comic genius. I assume we will come to see the point. Oh, Brian, I love your optimism, your hope that there might be a point, but we shall see. I tell you what, to get started, let's dig right into this wonderful poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. I read this last night and I liked it, but I'm not sure I understood it. Was this like all one big dream? Well, Eric, do you think it was all one big dream? Of course he doesn't. He didn't read this. He just said that to make you think he did. I did too read it. Okay, well, I didn't read it, but my girlfriend read it last year, and we talked about it on the ride in. We talked about it a whole lot. Well, I look forward to our talking more about it there, Eric. I tell you what, first, though, let's take another look at this wonderful piece by T.S. Eliot. The piece begins with a short prologue, an epigraph from Dante's Inferno. Now, do any of us speak Italian? Okay, no. All right, well then let's take a look at it in English. If I thought my answer were given to anyone who would ever return to the world, this flame would stand still without moving any further. But since never from this abyss has anyone ever returned alive, if what I hear is true, without fear of infamy, I answer you. Any ideas? I think he might be saying that he's going to be very honest with us because he doesn't really think we're going to be able to tell anybody what he says anyway. Excellent. Excellent, Jessica. Now, I want us to think about the rest of the poem in three parts. We're going to get this very vivid scene from town, and that's going to lead us into his attempt to enter the room. We'll think of the second part of the poem as the room. Prufrock trying to enter the room. Prufrock's recalling earlier experiences in the room. Okay, and then the third part of the poem will be the final part. We'll think of it as the beach scene. So that gives us three parts. Okay, the street scene, the room, and the beach scene. Street, room, beach. Three simple parts. If we keep them distinct, I think this poem becomes a lot more manageable. Okay? Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through half-certain, half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us go and make our visit. Okay, what kind of images came to mind as we listened to this first piece, this first part that we're referring to as the street scene? I guess I kind of had like nighttime images of night, kind of scary, kind of warm, it was a mix to me. Yeah, I think a lot of people may have seen that smog, that yellow smog, and think of it as just dirty, but he turns it into this really cool image with the cattail and settling around the city, and he really seems to be enamored by this seediness that he sees around him. He sees it as beautiful almost. Okay, super. In fact, I think you're just a little bit ahead of us there, Brian. You're looking at these lines that start at line 15. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the rest of this street scene. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on the window panes, licked its tongue into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seen that it was a soft October night, curled once about the house, and fell asleep. And indeed there will be time for the yellow smoke that slides along the street, rubbing its back upon the window panes. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. There will be time to murder and create, and time for all the works and days of hands that lift and drop a question on your plate. Time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions, and for 100 visions and revisions before the taking of toast and tea. That's very nice, Mr. Nagel. I like those images, but I have a question. Why did we skip 2 lines? Why did we skip lines 13 and 14? An excellent question, Jessica. You want to take a stab at it? Well, I see that those same lines come back at line 35 and 36, and at that point, then he's starting to try to enter the room. He's on those stairs. So maybe Eliot is trying to say that for Prufrock, time isn't really linear. He can be in the room when he's on the street, and he can be on the street when he's in the room. Could that be it? Well, I guess I'll let you answer that question for yourself, Jessica, but I will say I find that very pleasing. And so here we are. We've made it to the second part of the poem, the room. And so let's just read through this part of the poem. In the room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. And indeed, there will be time to wonder, do I dare? And do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair with a bald spot in the middle of my hair. They will say how his hair is growing thin. My morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie rich and modest, but asserted by a pin. They will say, but how his arms and legs are thin. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions which a minute will reverse. For I have known them all already, known them all, have known the evenings, mornings, and I have known the eyes already, known them all, the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pen, when I am penned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin to spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways? And how should I presume? And I have known the arms already, known them all, arms that are braceleted and white and bare, but in the lamplight downed with light brown hair. It is perfume from a dress that makes me so digress. Arms that lie along a table or wrap around a shawl. And should I then presume? And how should I begin? Shall I say, I have gone at dusk through narrow streets and watched the smoke that rises from the pipes of lonely men in shirt sleeves leaning out of windows? Okay, let's stop right there for a second. And let me ask you about the next couple of lines. What do you notice about the lines that come next? Anybody? Any ideas? Well, right here in the middle of the room part, Prufrock starts talking about how he should have been a crab. And that's kind of like when we were in the street scene and he started talking about Michelangelo in the room. Yeah, it's like time is concurrent. All these things happening at once and yet separately. I think you guys just might be onto something. We'll come back to that idea, but let's get through the rest of the room portion of the poem. In the afternoon, the evening sleeps so peacefully, smoothed by long fingers, asleep, tired, where it malingers, stretched on the floor here beside you and me. Should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought in upon a platter, I am no prophet, and here's no great matter. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker, and in short, I was afraid. And would it have been worth it after all, after the cups, the marmalade, the tea, among the porcelain, among some talk of you and me, would it have been worthwhile to have bitten off the matter with a smile? To have squeezed the universe into a ball to roll it toward some overwhelming question? To say, I am Lazarus, come from the dead, come back to tell you all, I shall tell you all. If one, settling a pillow by her head, should say, that is not what I meant at all, that is not it at all, and would it have been worth it after all? Would it have been worthwhile after the sunsets and the dooryards and the sprinkled streets, after the novels, after the teacups, after the skirts that trail along the floor, and this, and so much more? It is impossible to say just what I mean, but as if a magic lantern threw the nerves and patterns on a screen, would it have been worthwhile if one, settling a pillow or throwing off a shawl and turning toward the window, should say, that is not it at all, that is not what I meant at all? Okay, Mr. Niggle, I'm going to make this as brief as I can because I know you want to keep this under 15 minutes. So first of all, that's where your boy Mike Birbiglia comes in. Hey, Mike, dance. No, not like that. Hey, Prufrock, how you doing? No, not like that. That's not what I meant, Prufrock. When I say, how are you, you can just say, fine, pass me a crepe. Not, oh my gosh, I went to downtown last night and was just filled with life, and the most mundane circumstances just blew me away. Can you believe how amazing it is to be alive? No, Prufrock, no, not that. Oh, Brian, that is absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure why I even need to be here. Can I say one thing before we go? Sure, Jessica. Go ahead. Well, would it be appropriate to think of the room as like a really nice version of Plato's cave? Oh, that is beautiful. I don't deserve you folks. You are wonderful. Keep thinking about this stuff. 3 parts, the street, the room, the beach, lots more to explore, and I will see you in a couple of days.